Hello, everybody. It's the only living ghost here, and I've had time to think about this. Growing up, I was a big fan of The Lion King. Now, the thing about that is, I don't know if everyone had it on their DVD or I may be misinterpreting this, but I remember that on my old Lion King disc, there was actually an ad for Kimba. As crazy as that sounds, I think it was either on that one or Balto. It was one of those two. It was one of those two cartoons. It was either Lion King or Balto. It was one of those two because that was the majority of cartoons that I watched as a kid. In terms of VHS tapes and movies and things like that. But I watched Lion King to death. I loved the musical scores. I loved the story. It was compelling. And yes, I've seen Kimba. I know the comparisons, but they also took it from Hamlet as well. So nothing's original. I already know that. There's no reason to complain about it. I'm sick of people trying to make that comparison and say, "Oh, they're copying everything." Is whatever, whatever. Um, but as for the 2019 version of Lion King, I absolutely disliked it. I am appalled, but not really that much. I kind of suspected as much. It felt like a cash grab to me, and that's just kind of my take from it. I've had time to sit on it for a while now, and yeah, it felt like a crash grab. The first thing that grabbed me from the movie was the dry dialogue. The dry dialogue. Jesus, the dry fucking the way the animals couldn't emote was gonna be a problem already from the get go. Before we even made it to the movie theater, before the movie even started, the dry dialogue was gonna be a thing, and I don't know if people suspected that or not. Of course, the general audiences are gonna love this movie because it's just a remake of the old one. But anyone, I think anyone who's really a fan knows that this is a cash grab. Regardless if you're a fan of Kimba, Lion King, anything like that, this feels like a cash grab. And the reason for that is because it's just so many things that the original got right that this one just didn't. It just didn't feel good. It just didn't feel like it had that same magic, and it felt like a cash grab. A lot of the essential things are gone. They took out certain songs, and then they took out certain things. They took out certain dialogue choices and shit like that. It just didn't make sense, and they replaced certain characters to make a story for no reason. Like a story that doesn't make sense, but no, whatever. Anyway, the first thing that grabbed me was the dry rush dialogue. Most people feel like they were rushing through dialogue, rushing through lines, like they didn't take the time to actually act out their lines. Like, I'm not saying they're bad actors, but Jesus, like they made them people feel like they don't have any emotion in their voices half the damn time. Like they were just rushing through lines sometimes, and it just didn't sound right. And I've I've kind of come to the conclusion that it may be because the people that they got to act these characters out didn't fit the role. They didn't fit the role that they were voice acting, and that may be the problem. But if that's the case, like why not just bring back the old cast? I mean, I understand. So with certain liberties, you can't bring back certain people like the guy who played Simba, who was younger. I can't remember his name, but you can't bring him back. He's like 30 or something right now. But you brought back James Earl Jones, and he's in his 80s, and he was delivering lines that he delivered back then way more passionately and more enthusiastically. Now he doesn't even sound enthused with the role, or maybe it's because he's 80. I don't know. I don't care. You could have replaced his voice actor. It made James Earl Jones seem unenthused with the role, and that's not good for the movie. It's not good for anything. The age thing is a whole other thing on its own, yes, but you can't just pretend like it's not a problem. If that's the case, don't put this man in the movie. Just don't put him in the movie. Replace him. Replace him. Just get another voice actor. Like, what's the point of getting the old one? I think only one. I think he's the only one. I can't even remember. I think he's the only one from the original cast. Is he? I don't know. I don't know. Like that was pointless, man. It was pointless. Like the entire first beginning when Scar is trying to eat the rat and he's teasing Zazu, that didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel not authentic, but it just didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel like it had that same magic. And when he came in, and he says it with such emphasis. Um, when Scar basically threatens Mufasa, and Mufasa comes and says, "Is that a challenge?" And he says it with this emphasis on it in the old 1994 one. In this one, he says, "Is that a challenge?" He just says it like just so dry and unnatural. Like, I don't know if it's because he's 80, but it just didn't feel like feel like it. I just didn't feel that. I didn't feel what the fuck was coming out of his mouth when he said that. Like, but back then I could feel that. I could feel the temperament that you want to really challenge me in his voice back then. In this one, I didn't feel that with Mufasa. I didn't feel that this was the king. I just kind of felt like, I don't know, man. Like, this isn't what, and without the comparisons, it still doesn't stand good on its own because a lot of lines were rushed through. Hell, Nala barely had any lines in the movie, very minimal lines. But let me get on to the positive. The positives. It looks great. It looks really great. Um, they did okay with some of the songs. Um, it was visually amazing, but still. And then this whole fucking visual problem. Why would you? That's the problem with this. These are animals. They can't emote emotion. Like, I've seen a couple of videos where people were saying that, oh, their eye, they should have been they should have used the technology from Narnia, where the lion actually emoted through their eyebrows, and their facial expressions actually showed. And I kind of agree, because you can't, you making a movie about animals that express themselves through action rather than you know other things. And we're human. We don't always express ourselves through just our actions. Sometimes we have facial expressions that express what we feel. And yes, our dialogue also does it. Is how they say, is how you say it and not what you say. So a lot of that didn't come through in this movie. That's what made the first movie so great. There was emotion in the faces. There were emotions in the dialogue. There was emotion in the acting. There was emotion in the songs too. Like, "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" was script. And then the biggest disservice I've ever fucking seen to the villain, Scar. Why the fuck would you take out "To Be Prepared"? Like, could he not have sung the fucking song or something? Could, like, and the guy who played Scar was actually a good villain in one movie. Fuck is it? Serenity or some shit like that? Like, yeah, Serenity. He was a fucking good villain in there. So why the fuck? You could have changed some of his voice lines around, because he did the same voice lines as Scar, but you could have changed them around because his voice doesn't fit. His character can't emote like the Scar from the old movie can, or he doesn't have that voice like the old Scar. The old Scar had like a sly, devious voice. This Scar has more like a deep, bassy voice, and that just doesn't work for the character. And I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm not with this Lion King, man. I'm still saying that, well, how I feel, and this probably isn't gonna be long, but I grew up in this. I said before, this hurts. This hurts me because I loved Lion King growing up, and my nephew, we still watch the 1994 version, and we had the Blu-ray. That's how much we wanted to get this thing so much. We went and got the Blu-ray, and we fell in love with it. Well, I fell in love with it all over again because I love the animation style, I love the music, I love the songs, I love the actors. But man, fucking man, come on. So yeah, that's how I feel. I'm sitting at around a 5. On Alone, this thing isn't at a 5. Alone, this movie is sitting at a 5. Compared to the old version, it's sitting at a 2. A fucking 2 out of 10. Do with that as you, man. I'll see you guys next time.